So around 6 months ago, I put out this video right here, which was all about the journey of raising chicks from a very young age, say 3 or 4 days old, all the way to the point where they can go in the coop around 2 to 3 months old. But now it's 6 months later. They look like this, full grown, beautiful chickens. And around 6 to 7 months is the time where, speaking of, she was not in there before I started filming. Back up for just a second and go into the other one. We've got eggs, lots of beautiful eggs. And I'm getting around 6 to 10 eggs a day, which is a lot of eggs. So I need some egg ideas. And I've been looking for them. And I found 3 very interesting recipes that I think all have the potential to become a go-to for me. But that's the point of today. I'm gonna test them out. Carly and I will taste them and we'll see if we can add a few more recipes for the weekly meal prep. So this one's coming in from Misery Bell TikTok. She's calling it the Tortilla Quiche Bake. It got 9.2 million views and
Let's make this tortilla baked quiche thing that everyone is going crazy about.
So this, to be honest, is the type of recipe that I normally stay away from nowadays. Kind of falls in that hack recipe world where it's not much technique, it's just dumping a bunch of things together, but something about this recipe caught my eye. Probably because we have a bunch of tortillas left over from the Chipotle video. But it's really simple. You just add a tortilla, you scramble in some cottage cheese with eggs, and then you dump in some veggies, add more cheese, bake it up. And it looks delicious. Something we would definitely have made on Brothers Green back in the day. But she's got me interested, so let's give it a try. All right, so I've got a little pie dish here. Should be the perfect size tortilla. We'll pop that in. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna spray that just to get some extra crispiness on the bottom. And she did 3 eggs, so I'm just gonna follow her lead. Uno, dos. I lied, I'm gonna do one more. I think it needs it. A few scoops of some good cottage cheese. This is what kind of makes it a quiche, since it's so cheesy. Then we're gonna season with salt, pepper, and we'll scramble. Which is funny that you're scrambling right in the tortilla, trying not to rip the bottom. I'm gonna add another egg. I don't know if she's using a smaller dish than me, but it just needs more substance. Looks good. Now she said to add your favorite veggies. I just went around the garden. I picked some basil. I picked some cherry tomatoes and a nice pepper. I'll slice and dice some pepper. Sprinkle that in. And then I'll slice up some cherry tomatoes. Add those in, and then I'm just gonna rip this basil right in. That's actually looking fairly appetizing so far for what it is. Bunch of basil. I'll sort of press that, mix it in. And she grated a little bit more cheese on top. I'm using some cheddar. And she added some black pepper. I am gonna spray that edge there, get that crispy. She threw hers in the oven at 350. My oven runs a little bit cooler, so I'm going 365 for like 20 to 30 minutes. All right, exactly 30 minutes. Looks really nice, nice and crispy. I'll just let it cool for a second. Actually, can we just take this right out? Yes, we can. The bottom crispy, kind of brown. All right, hopefully it's cooked through. So is this something you would make?
For sure, yeah.
At first I was like, you know, kind of a gimmicky thing, but then I thought about how busy my life was and I'm like, you know what? This kind of checks out, but let's see if the taste checks out. We've got a fermented, delicious, peppery hot sauce that's definitely getting drizzled on. Which piece do you want?
I'll take this piece. I also like the idea of it, like, I think sometimes when you go to make a frittata, no matter what, you're gonna like, it's gonna get stuck on the bottom a little bit.
Yeah, I have mastered frittatas. I put a bunch of videos out on this channel. You do need really good technique. You need a lot of oil. If you don't have oil, it's gonna get stuck.
Yeah, this is a good way to.
It's a very good point. That the tortilla, like I just did a little spray.
Yeah. Or making like a quiche with more substance in the egg.
Yeah.
But not having time to make a crust.
You know, that kind of checks out like a pie crust a little bit. Like it's not crispy, but it's brown.
And it's holding.
Feels like, yeah, and it's holding. That's the most important thing. Crispy on the exterior.
Yeah.
I would like the bottom crispy. I was concerned from the video that it wouldn't be. I think if you got the settings right on the oven, maybe baked it a little higher.
Or par cooked the tortilla a little bit.
That could help. Yeah, because it's a little, I wouldn't say soggy.
Maybe it's the using like cherry tomatoes, like a vegetable that has a higher water content, like isn't the best idea.
I was concerned about that.
Yeah, but it's delicious.
It's not over cheesy. I was concerned. The cottage cheese doesn't taste like, oh you just dumped in a lot of cheese.
Honestly, I forgot there was cottage cheese in here.
Yeah, it just forms a nice base.
Yeah, it's just like a heartier, thicker egg.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's delicious.
Yeah. This is a dish if you have the leftover tortillas, you don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, I wouldn't hand make and hand grill tortillas for it. Yeah, I feel like you could use a stale tortilla also, like tortillas that have kind of passed their prime.
The point of quiche or frittata in my eyes is getting rid of a lot of things in the fridge, and that's exactly what this is. Approved.
Approved.
All right, I am in my greenhouse, specifically in my eggplant patch right here. I've got a bunch of different varieties growing on this row, but I need this right here. One of these longer Asian style eggplants, because I'm making this dish right here by the Lumpia Queen, which got 12 million views on Filipino Eggplant. Now, I have no idea why I've never heard of this or tried this, because it looks so incredibly simple, yet delicious. All you have to do is roast your eggplant till it's nice and soft, peel the skin, and then basically you're kind of French toasting the eggplant. You're dipping it in egg and frying it in a pan until it becomes one crispy goodness thing that you can serve over rice or however you want. So I'm gonna pick a few of these eggplants. I built a fire this morning. I'm gonna roast them over the fire until they're nice and soft, and then I can just gently peel away that skin, and then we'll dip them in some eggs. All right, so far the only thing difficult is peeling one of these longer eggplants while keeping it attached to that end stem, which she did in the video. Let's see if I can do it. Come on, come on. Done. Surgery. Move this aside. All right, I'm gonna take the biggest egg I have because it's a fairly large eggplant. She said go heavy with the salt, pepper, scramble it up a little bit. And then she took this and kind of mashed it in, which is really cool. And what's happening is the egg and the eggplant are sort of becoming one. At least that's what it looks like. That's so cool. And then I'm gonna get my pan preheating on a medium heat, add my oil, and the trick is just to slide it in like that. Nice. Which is a perfect time to talk about today's sponsor, Made In, which makes the carbon steel pan I'm using for this recipe, plus a lot of other amazing kitchenware that I've been using as daily drivers in my kitchen for years. I'm actually currently working on a video all about different pot and pan materials, the pros and cons of each, but I will say that carbon steel is one of my absolute favorite all-purpose frying pans. And the reason for that is it's really the perfect hybrid between a cast iron pan and a stainless steel pan. So you get that heat retention and excellent searing ability of a heavier cast iron pan in a much lighter and maneuverable package like a stainless steel pan. And unlike many other carbon steel pans on the market, Made In's carbon steel comes pre-seasoned, so all you have to do is just use the pan, and over time that seasoning will continue to develop, giving you a naturally non-stick pan. And the carbon steel pans are made in Sweden by craftsmen and women who have been producing carbon steel since the late 1800s. They're just super high quality, they'll last you a lifetime, which for me is the key factor when investing in a good high quality pot or pan. So you can check out the carbon steel collection as well as Made In's other cookware by using the link below in the description to save on your order. All right, so I'm definitely seeing the bubbles that she is talking about. Oh, did not get the perfect flip, but that's all right. All right, underside looking nice and crispy. Does it hold up like she had it? Yes, it, oh, sort of. She served it over some rice with, I don't know if it was like banana ketchup or something. Oh. I've got this cream sauce from recipe testing for air fryer cookbook coming up. Let's try it just straight up. Really interesting texture. Wow. Wow. I like that a lot.
It's so eggy. It's like you almost don't taste the eggplant at all, but you get the texture from it, which is really nice. Yeah, it's like fried and scrambled eggs together. That texture, if you could combine those two. It's a little salty.
She said go heavy on the salt. Little too much salt.
Maybe over rice though with a condiment, it wouldn't be.
Let's try it with the sauce too. Yeah. I feel like this is very versatile. You could do Middle Eastern like this.
That's good. It definitely needs a sauce. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because this is like sweet and herby and it kind of balances it out.
Yeah, that is so good. I guess my question is, I think it's incredible. It's a great technique. What do you do with it? It was a little difficult. Like you have to make them one at a time almost.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a good use of eggplant.
Yes, if you have an eggplant or an extra roasted eggplant and you just want to make yourself like a quick elevated meal, like she did, I think it's a great use.
And also just like doing that method with like other vegetables, like frying the whole vegetable encased in an egg, basically.
You're right, anything that would mash, like a zucchini could do a similar thing. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, it's tasty.
My first time making it, keep that in mind. I think, you know, I could perfect the technique.
Yeah, I think you got the technique. I just think it's a little salty. Other than that, it's really good.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but chickens lay eggs seasonally. So in the colder months, they're not laying much eggs, but in the warmer months, things pick up and there's just a constant flow of eggs, which means I need dishes that can really rattle through a lot of eggs at once. So I'm making things like frittatas that can rattle through like a dozen eggs at once, and also definitely a lot of egg salad. I love egg salad. I could plow through a pint pretty easy. And in my last egg video, I found this recipe right here, which was a fun variation on it, but this thing, the Tomago Sando coming in from Christy Eat Home, I've had my eye on this and today is the day we make it. I mean, it looks incredible. I've seen slight variations on the technique here, but basically you're boiling eggs, you're peeling them, and then rather than mashing them all together, you go a step further. You peel the whites from the yolks. She sifts the egg yolk through a sifter and then chops up the white for more texture. Then you mix it in with some seasoning, some QP mayo. She serves it on brioche buns, which we are making. And I mean, I'm excited to make and eat that. All right, so I have my boiling water here. She said vinegar to help with the peeling, a little bit of that. And then salt, which I've never heard of for egg leakage. I guess the eggs crack and leak, maybe? It's the only thing I can think of. Look at this long egg right here. Squeezed out of the chicken's bottom. When I boil eggs, I just kind of temper them. I just lower them in, pop them out so they don't, yeah, even that one actually already broke. Oh, this one broke. Maybe because they're so fresh, I don't know. They didn't break, but they actually cracked a little bit. Let's see if that salt technique does anything. So in you go. Now she said 13 minutes. These are smaller eggs, so I'm gonna do 11 minutes. All right, time up. Funny because they did crack, but they didn't leak, so that salt might have actually worked. All right, so generally fresh eggs are harder to peel, so we'll see if I have any issues here. I do like cracking the eggs and putting them back in the water, and what happens is the water gets under that first layer, it makes it a little easier to peel. I feel like I pick up these little techniques over time from all of these videos, which is great. All right, no issues there. You know what, I think that salt really helped. No leakage, as advertised. When you actually follow the proper steps, you get perfect eggs. So next step is to remove the yolk. To me, that's the perfect hard-boiled egg, just slightly almost medium rare on the inside. You don't want to overcook your eggs. So I'll throw these in the sieve or the mesh strainer. I don't think I was filming chopping this up, but I just ran my knife through it. Definitely a little more tedious, but we'll see if it's worth it in the end. So I've got the egg yolks in the mesh strainer and I will start pushing them through. See how this works. Oh yeah, this is pretty tedious. This is like making egg salad at a Michelin star restaurant and people are paying you a lot of money. But at home, I don't know about this. You can see some of it is going through. It's not easy. At this point, I'm just gonna put this in there because it's already broken up and then scrape this off. Wow, that's pretty cool. Powder yolks. All right, in goes our whites. All right, we actually made our own QP mayo. I'll link the recipe below that I used. Scoops of that. And then she just hit it with a little salt and a little sugar, which I normally don't add to my egg salad. Let's try it out. I think it needs one more scoop of QP. There we go. That's the texture I'm looking for. Done. So I did make some beautiful brioche buns from scratch because this intensive egg salad recipe 100% deserves it. Let's see how these are looking. Oh, perfect. Wow. Oh my God. I love bread and I love brioche, maybe even more. All right, one for Carly, one for Cooper. One for me. Slice them. Now there's one thing I had to add. I just had to. Fresh tomato from the garden. It was calling to me. One slice each. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Maybe we'll throw that right on the bottom. Big scoop of that. Homemade dried parsley flakes. She just garnished with a little bit right on the top. Look at this tomato harvest. Wow. Also, these are the best, the habaneros. This is why I had to put a tomato on these sandwiches.
Yeah.
It would be sacrilege to not. All right, so these better be the best thing that I've ever tasted in my life because they were not the easiest thing to make.
A little complicated, but egg salad is like my favorite thing ever, so I'm really excited for
We've got a good judge then. I added one more scoop of the mayo. It made it a little bit more, I guess, loose, and hers was like piled up high.
Yeah.
So we'll see though. It's so soft. Just
it's
like
so good.
Wow.
Wow.
I think actually less mayo would have made it a little more textural.
Really, I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
I guess that's total preference.
Yeah, that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
That's so good. That's just like mayo on the mouth, like
yeah, and it's cool because it's a complicated process, but then the yolk becomes the sauce as opposed to the mayonnaise being the sauce.
Yes, that's a good point. Which is why I think I didn't need that extra mayo hit. You know, she added sugar. You don't like, it's more just a slight seasoning.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's why people love QP mayo so much because they don't realize that it's actually filled with sugar.
Yeah.
That's why it's so addictive.
Makes sense.
We're just both gonna eat the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is my breakfast. But you could have this any meal. Like, it works as a breakfast item. You could eat it at any time of the day.
The bun is good too.
Yeah.
The bun is really
great.
nice.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I feel like I usually eat egg salad on something crispy because I like the difference in texture, but there's something about this that's just like so decadent.
Yes. I'm gonna make another and
just eat it. I think it's complicated, but this is totally worth it. This is so good.
Definitely approved. And get that out of the way. I think there's techniques that I'll pull from it. As far as like making that exact recipe every time and that technique. I mean, I'll probably stick to more just basic because it's easier.
Yeah.
But I like knowing that technique. It's in the back pocket just in case you want to get fancy.
And I think you can like use that technique of separating the egg whites. You don't have to put the egg yolks through a sieve. Like there's ways to do that and make it
exactly. That's how I felt.
The yolk, the sauce without doing all that extra work.
You know a cocktail that's just so good that you like just can taste the alcohol and it goes down so smooth. I'm like, I need another one of those. It went down too easy.
You barely taste the egg salad.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 10 out of 10.